Hey, it's Mark Warnke, the Goat Guy and founder of the Lifesteading movement. It's fun. I said that in one video a little bit under my breath, and like 6 people were like, hey, how do you see yourself as the founder of the homesteading movement, jerk? And I was like, it was lifesteading, but that's all right, and it's okay. You don't need to call me a jerk. But anyway, just so you guys are clear, it's lifesteading, which is a different twist on the whole idea of land ownership, and it's really a beautiful way to look at our give back to the planet as one of the rare few who own land. Because whether you realize it or not, we're a very small minority of the United States, and it's like this beautiful blessing we have, and I see it that we have a duty to our community. So I have 44 acres. A lot of it is a mountain. 7 acres of it has creek and bottom, and we can grow hay, and we have pastures. And then I have really steep brows for goats. So I have a really cool, perfect property as a goat owner. And we have water rights and all kinds of fun stuff. But Nathaniel Taylor, shout out to you, asked me a question, which is, hey, I need you to talk more about your gear and equipment and what you're running and why. Now just know I'm not like a super gear nerd or truck nerd or whatever. I'm usually like efficiency nerd and cost-effective nerd. And so lots of times I bought equipment because I could afford it and it was the right price at the right time. So I'm that guy sometimes that's walking around in size 13 boots when I wear size 12 because they were at 75% off, and I'm just that guy. So know that some of the choices that I've made have been based on I could afford it at the time and I grabbed it while it did, even though it wasn't the perfect piece of equipment, and I learned my lessons as a part of that process. So this was my first skidster. I will tell you without question, the most used tool on this ranch is a skidster or my other JCB. Gets used way more than a tractor, way more than my chore truck. It's the most used by so far that I would tell you if you were getting ready to get into a homestead, make sure you budget for a skidster first because it's going to be your most used piece of equipment. It moves snow for you, it has attachments, it's super mobile. This was my first one. This is like it's called a JD14 John Deere skidster. And basically what it is a lawnmower engine, literally. It's like a Kohler 23 horse lawnmower engine that runs a hydraulic pump, and everything, including the wheels, are run by that hydraulic pump. And it's built in, I think, the early 70s, and the sucker's still chugging. I paid $4,000 for it, and I could sell it for $4,000 right now. Or more, probably more, because this is post-COVID stuff, and these used pieces of equipment are worth a lot of money. This thing has been a dream, but it's limited. One of the things that's great about it is that I literally can drive through man gates in it. So it'll get into teeny small places. It'll get into my enclosures and clean out the goat poop. Its bucket's big enough to do some legit work, but doesn't even touch the work that my other one does, and we'll go over the JCB here in a minute. But this has been a dream. Affordable, reliable, super utility. I've tipped it over like 3 times, by the way, with me in it, and probably almost brushed to death a few times because I push it so far to do more than it should, but it's been amazing and I'm so thankful for it. So that's the skidster. I have gone instead of with side-by-sides because again, I'm all about cost and I'm not a rich guy. These little right-hand steer, Japanese, made in Japan, 4-wheel drive with lockers. I call this one the Spider because it'll literally crawl a wall. It has a heat block heater because these things are super cold-blooded. It's rusty. I paid $2,300 for it. It's been basically problem-free. The bed folds down, so it's a flat bed. It has crazy load capacity. I can put 15 bales in the back of this. It stacks super high and it barely squats. I've hauled a lot of rocks in this and it does an unbelievable job. This is, in my opinion, a far superior ranch vehicle than the side-by-sides for the money. It's not even close. The side-by-sides now are freaking $25,000, $30,000. They're still a glorified motorcycle. The cabs aren't as nice as these. These have heaters, they have stereos, they're like a legit car. The negative side is that they're pretty cheaply built, so the seats are always falling apart, like the interior. I mean, this is all duct taped up and stuff like that. They're pretty thin walled in their construction, so as they begin to get rusty, they kind of fall apart. But this one's like a 1998 and still runs like a top, still starts, still works great. It's right-hand steer, which, by the way, the learning curve on is way less than I thought it was going to be. It's super easy to get used to it. Stinky actually likes to bed up in it. Stinky's awesome. Anyway, so these things I highly recommend them. They're really amazing. I was really deceived about what they were worth in the beginning. Just know you can pick them up for $2 to $4 grand all day long if you just stay resolved with it. I think really nice fixed up ones that are less abused and stuff like this kind of stuff, you're going to pay in that 5 to 7 range, and they're probably worth it because they're a little nicer. But for just a beat or ranch truck that I'm never going to wash, clean, or care about, I'd rather spend 2 to 4, and if it goes away, it goes away. You know, so anyway, that's how that thing's been. They're easy to get parts for, so don't get worried about that. There's actually a couple of companies that do really good with these things, and you can kind of customize them and make them fun. So let's move on. I have 2 of them, by the way. This is a Cushman. That one's 3-cylinder. The Cushman is a 4-cylinder. It came without a bed, so I actually bought a junker one for 500 bucks, pulled the bed off of that and put it on this one. And then this is actually a left-hand steer, so normal steer. The Cushman was made for the American market, and it's a 4-cylinder, and it's a 3-speed, and it does great as well. It's 4-wheel drive, all that good stuff. Same generation, same kind of thing. Again, can't say enough about them. You can't even buy a decent used side-by-side for the price that I have 2 of these. So there's cool. As far as my tractor goes, I got kind of enamored with this whole Ford Versatile. I don't know enough about tractors to say that whether I have a good one or not. I know that there are people who are really envious that I have one of these because they kind of have a cult following. They're hard to find. One of the blessings of mine is that it only has 4,000 hours on it, which in the world of tractors is nothing. It is 4-wheel drive in both directions, forward and back, and just basically has a lever handle, and you can spin the seat on the inside and drive it forward, and you can drive it backwards. Now, when I bought it, it had this backhoe with it, but now that I have the JCB, this backhoe is kind of useless, and I'm going to sell this. And I paid 20 grand for this tractor with the backhoe loader and the front end loader. I'm going to take this off, put the front end loader back on it, and the one thing I don't have with this that I didn't know enough to know is how hard it is to find 3-points on these things. They are literally not made, or can you find them anymore? So we actually had one custom made for ours, and we'll be putting that on there, and then we can run 3-point and all the PTOs and that stuff. But it's really nice, and so we got one of those. Sorry, the highway noise. The other thing I wanted to point out, one of the reasons we bought that is that I bought this, which is a tree spade. Now, tree spades, because we have thousands, literally thousands of cottonwood and black locust trees, and we may potentially do a little Christmas tree operation here where people come in and buy live trees from us, because we're trying to figure out what to do kind of with our land other than just grow browse. And we might do a few Christmas trees, who knows? But this was primarily that highway was loud, and we're also kind of in a fishbowl. When people drive past, they can see us, and I like our privacy a little more. So I bought this for 4,000 bucks. It's a tree spade, and it goes in and digs out a root ball of up to a 6-inch diameter tree, picks the whole tree up, and then you can go stick it somewhere else. And so we can harvest trees off of our creek bottom, our own trees, which trees are expensive, and then we can line the highway and create a really good barrier so that we have a little more privacy and we can move trees around the property. And I paid 4,000 bucks for that, and I still haven't used it yet, but we've only been here in a year and a half, and we have other things on our to-do list, and I know that we will use it because I'm going to be resolved that was a good purchase for me. So on to the JCB. Oh, by the way, this video is all about the equipment because Nathaniel wanted to say, hey, why don't you talk about your trucks and your equipment, what worked, what didn't. Now, I also do want to point out over here is our fire truck. And I've talked about our fire truck before. This was an old truck that was on Trish's family's farm forever. It's like a 25-year-old four-wheel drive, it's a 250 F-250 Ford, and it only has like 60,000 miles on it. So it looks like a piece of garbage, but literally the thing it's a baby in terms of what it's been used. It's suffering more from sitting than it is being used. But what we did is we put 500 gallons of water, a pump, and then a hose system so we can fight fire, because that's our main concern here during the summer, is that we are in an area that burns fairly often. So we do burn lines around the property, and then we also have a way to actually fight fire. And we've educated ourselves on how to functionally fight fire well to push it back until, to protect our property. So that's our fire truck, and that's really cool. That took a lot of work to do it, and we had a close call with a fire that burned right up to the driveway that made us learn our lesson and set that up. Now, as far as the JCB goes, this thing has been an absolute gem. So valuable. We have used it so much. Big scoop up front, and this is one of those 5-point becomes a pusher, and it's a grapple, and it has the advanced front end loader, and then it has the backhoe on the back and the tracks. So we can hook up over here to our snow implement, and it has high flow and low flow both on the front and on the back and front, so I can put other tools like augers, I can put post hole diggers, I can put all that crazy stuff that they make for these things, or just bolt on, click on, fast attach, and you're going with hydraulics and all that stuff. And this thing has a little 50 horse diesel in it. By the way, that one has 102 horse diesel in it, so this one's got the horsepower to really do the pulling and the big work, although this one's got plenty of power to do all the things that this little backhoe guy would do. It has a heated and air conditioned cab. It runs forward and backwards, and the seat swivels back and forth. This thing is the bomb. I'm so glad we got it. This was our most expensive piece of equipment. The tractor cost $20. This thing cost $74. So that was a big giant gulp for us. This was the most expensive piece of equipment we got. And I literally, now that I've had it for 9 months, I don't know how I could have done half the stuff we've done here without it. It was a absolutely imperative piece of equipment, and we're just super blessed to have been able to have it, because there's just some things we couldn't have done without it, and I'm so thankful for it. So again, we're pushing snow with that this year. Last year we did it with that little shitter skidster, and that thing kicked our ass. So let's go talk about the trailers real quick, and then we'll finish up. Okay, so the last pieces of equipment that I want to share with that have been good investments for us is this flatbed. A flatbed trailer is a critical piece of equipment on the ranch, just to haul the things that only can go on a flatbed. Now, because it can haul cars, it can haul wood, it can haul metal, it can haul big boulders. It hauled that big tractor of mine behind my Dodge. I can put the skidster on it. It is absolutely, this has been one of the best investments we made, as well as a flatbed. And we haul all our hay on this thing. Now, the one thing that I do like that you may consider, but I'm glad we have this over a car hauler, because the advantage of a car hauler is that it's lower. So when you throw bales on it or you're throwing things on it, you don't have to be quite as high. But the negative of a car hauler is it has the wheel wells involved in the process, so you can't do big flat things. It's really if I were to do it, I would do it exactly like I did it. The only thing that I would do is I would get a better mechanism, because one of the things, because I'm not necessarily a guy from the construction industry or the heavy equipment industry, I didn't know you needed this. But when we pull big heavy things onto the back of this, like my skidster and my tractor, by far, what'll happen is I'm pulling it up onto the ramps, it'll actually lift the whole front end of this trailer off the ground, and it literally made my Dodge do a handstand. So here was my flatbed and my Dodge, and the middle was 10 feet off the ground, and I feathered it and controlled while the skidster went on, and then it set it back down and I was able to go on. So it was a sketchy move to get the skidster on this, and the way to overcome that is they make these little downriggers that basically anchor the back end of the dump trailer to the ground, and then it makes it so it can't lift off. It's a simple fix. You can even do it with blocks, and that's how I'm doing it currently once I discovered that was an issue. But that's something to be mindful of if I would have got the one with like built in. The other thing I did, will you stop, is I built in side skirts that just plug into these little locks, and then it has rails that go along the side that can allow me to keep things like when, you know, you move, you know, that's the thing. When you have a flatbed, everybody wants you to help them move. So be prepared for that. The horse trailer was good. We don't use it a ton because we don't haul our horses a lot, but it really was a blessing. And this is one of those things where it was right time, right price. We were really fortunate to pick it up cheap. It's aluminum, so it's light, and it's a really neat, high-end, well-made horse trailer that we're just lucky to have. But Trisha, despite having a lot of horses, or having horses, we don't do a ton with them. We do way more with the goats. So I kind of wish this piece of equipment got utilized more, but it is what it is. We still need one if you got horses. And this is our stock trailer style horse trailer. I haul the goats in this. It has a rear closing door, which is a lot better way. It actually opens both ways. So it has the rear door that opens up in the big swing, and within that door is a slider. So it makes it easier to load the goats. I really like this style. And then you can see right here is the separator where you can separate goats up front and goats in back, or cattle or whatever. So the stock trailer style horse trailer is really, really a great fit for goats. And I think we paid around $12,000 for this, and I paid $2,300 for that. So, you know, just in terms of the bang for the buck has been there by a mile in terms of affordability. But that's the general rule with the difference between horses and goats, is it's difficult to get the value of the money you have to spend on horses comparatively to goats, which is why I'm in goats. So last piece of equipment, and also one of our super utilized, I don't know how I would have functioned on this ranch without a dump trailer. I got really lucky in finding this again. I paid $4,000 for it. These things are going for a lot more. It's a little dumpy, but not really. It functions super well. It dumps well. But dump trailers, in terms of hauling dirt, firewood, I can put the skidster in it and go to another location, use it to move dirt. I would say that if I were to choose these two, I would choose this one by far, because it can do a lot of what this can do, but that cannot even close to do what this can do. So if I had to choose between a dump trailer and a flatbed, there's no question I would get a dump trailer. This is right up there with the skidster as one of the most utilized pieces of equipment on the ranch. And having a dump trailer is an absolute imperative if you have roads and ground and you go to the dump, or you get firewood, or you're moving dirt, or you're moving stuff to different locations, or you're moving equipment. Any of that stuff can be done in this. These dump trailers are worth their freaking weight in gold, and the ability to have a dump mechanism is so valuable. I can't even express it. We will load out of all our bins into this and then go dump in the compost pile. We've hauled hay in it. It is an unbelievable utility vehicle that I'm super grateful for. So Nathaniel, here is your video on the equipment. I hope the rest of you found that helpful as well. As Nathaniel did, feel free, please, if you guys have questions and want me to go over stuff, I'll do it. The other thing is the next new brainchild that we've come up with that I'm pretty excited about is, as you guys know, I am big on community. So, and that's part of my life steading thing, is that we see this land as a place to gather like-minded people. I follow and pay attention to a lot of forms of spiritual thought, and Buddhism has a lot of really beautiful principles to it. I'm not a Buddhist, but I still pay attention to some of their principles and the things that they think about, and they have a thing called Sangha. And Sangha is gathering with like-minded people. So when you have people that are high vibration in your life, higher thinking individuals, people that you aspire to be like, people that you feel lucky to be associated with, those type of people you can gather on your land through food, events, gatherings, whatever it is. And so what we throw dances here, and we do seminars here and meditation retreats, and we attract that community that we're interested in being involved in. And so by having those here, we then get the opportunity to have different things where we can commune. Don't you do that. Stinky is fired up. But anyway, we have these different things that we do to commune. And one of the things that we're building and that I'm excited about is we have this old kind of silo that's weirdly positioned in the front of the house, and we use it as our garden shed, and it works for that. But I just thought we need something that's either a hot tub or a sauna, and I didn't want to have to go to a lot of expense. The hot tub's kind of a hard thing because you can only sit like 4 or 5 people in it really comfortably, but a sauna, just with a little fireplace in the center, man, you can sit 20 people around that silo. So we're going to convert that silo and put cedar on the inside and put a little old wood burning stove and a pile of rocks, and we're going to do all that process, and that's going to be done sometime in the next year. So kind of something that we're working on, and I always need those things to think about, and so we're going to have a sauna here on Ripple Ranch as well in the near future, so I'm excited about that. So that's it for now. I appreciate you. If you like these videos, please click to subscribe, please share, and remember, our genuine expertise is in the world of goats and in life steading. We have a website, mylifestead.com, that's still in the process of development. We have a private event that we'll be having where we're pulling in experts. If you're curious about that, just put that in the comments. We also have everything you need to learn how to raise goats. And if you want to learn what a lot of people that are new to goats need, is that help from the very beginning. So that 1 to 2 years. We actually have a free webinar online where you can go and you can kind of basically take a free class that'll give you some of the things that you need to be aware of. And that's on mygoatguide.com, and that's also in the links in the description on this video. So grateful to you. Mark Warnke, the Goat Guy, signing out.